In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at colder times ahead. There is kind of a warming trend happening towards the end of the models. So at times, we're going to see warm-ups as well. Think what we saw earlier in February is a great example of what we might be seeing. And there is snowfall opportunities in there, especially if you're to the north, like the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and then also for the lower Mid-Atlantic, there's a couple of chances as well. Unfortunately, a lot of the chances that I'm seeing on the models today just look a lot of the same of what we've seen. You know, Virginia, lower Maryland, West Virginia seeing some snowfall, and then northern Pennsylvania and north of New Jersey seeing snowfall. So it's still that snow hole kind of staying there. The good news is this is a lot of long range stuff, so it has opportunities to trend south or north, and we might see some snowfall fill in that kind of snow hole that we have going on. I'm hoping for it, so we'll see what happens. Also, a few severe weather opportunities in there as well. As we're transitioning into March, that's going to become a lot more common, so it shouldn't come as a huge surprise. Let's take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and this will be for February 28th through March 4th. We do see a very large warm area over the west and even into the central states, so this is encroaching on the eastern half of the nation a little bit. We still see some cold for the northeast and mid-Atlantic here, and also for parts of the south, with near normal in between, which can kind of go either way. When we look at the precipitation, we do see that there's a near normal area in the east, which could go either way here. But we have a large area of above average from the southwest through the south central, parts of the southeast, and a lot of your north central states here as well. There's no below normal unless you go to Alaska or Hawaii here over the lower 48. So pretty interesting as well. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This will go from the 2nd through the 8th of March. We do see some colder anomalies along a lot of the west. This is huge. This is what we call a negative P&A. All that means is colder temperatures over these western areas. And this really encourages warmer temperatures overall into the east. And I think that this could look even warmer than what this is showing if we really do have this cold air mass set up over the west. We should start to see some warmth to try to move in, but for now, their outlook still shows cold for the Mid-Atlantic, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. Looking at the precipitation, it gets a lot more above average in the east, and still a lot of these western and central areas looking above as well. So a wetter time period ahead for the next couple of weeks, evidently. Here is the past 20 days of temperatures. So this is going to be from the 3rd through the 23rd of February. What we see is colder temperatures along a lot of the west here, colder a lot along the central states here, especially the north central, where we've had, you know, temperatures 10 to 15, even 15 to 25 degrees below normal in these areas. Very, very cold compared to normal. We do have a little bit of a southeast ridge that is starting to dwindle away as we've seen these colder days. So we've seen the Ohio Valley, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic start to cool. Even the Great Lakes and Northeast have been cooling, so I suspect that these areas will be, for the most part, blue once we're looking back at the entire month of February. Let's take a look here at the European model, and this is the less exciting of the two today. We do get the severe weather events on this model. We do get some snowfall opportunities, but the GFS cashes in a little bit more. But really, as of now, neither model is going to show anything too crazy as far as snowfall. We're just getting little semi-plowable snowfall events on here. Think at the max 4 to 8 inches, something like that is what we're seeing from these storms, at least in the eastern half of the nation. So nothing too major now, but that's a lot of times what it looks like, and we can see these things become more major or even less major. So there is still some wiggle room, and especially north to south, we can see serious trends as far as where these storms move to. So keep in mind that this is not final. We do see these models shift around a lot, especially this year. If you guys have been keeping up with the videos, I hear from you guys so much about how these models will show 12 inches and then 1. And really, it's not that it's going from 12 to 1 inches. It's not lowering in intensity. It's really just changing locations. So if you're seeing an outlook from these models showing 12 inches and then it lowers, it's likely that the storm has shifted south or north from you. Let's take a look at the day today, and I'm going to move it forward one so that we get, well, I'll move it forward a couple actually so that it's after you're watching this video likely. So this is 10 p.m. tonight on Sunday. We do see some rainfall, some snowfall along the northwest depending on your elevation, and we also see some storminess here along some of your Gulf states into the southeast states. There's a weak low pressure center here. This is not going to lead to a snowstorm at this point. It's going to move straight out to sea. But we do see a general risk of thunderstorms for a lot of these areas that are seeing this. So there's some isolated thunderstorms in there. And if not, you're seeing some pretty substantial snowfall or rainfall, better yet, from these showers. Let's go ahead and move it forward. I want to take a look at what tomorrow has to bring. And a lot of this activity moves towards Florida in general. So we see some activity as far as thunderstorms for the state of Florida. Really a common thing year round. We do see that the Northwest is continuing to see activity, just a little bit less as of now. We do have a strong Eastern Canadian low, 979 there. You might not even be able to see it on your screen, but way up there in the Hudson Bay. And this is bringing snowfall for a lot of Eastern Canada there. I'm going to keep going towards Tuesday afternoon. And again, the activity is not really crazy. We do see some showers. Some of it in the higher elevations could be snowfall, but really this is not going to be a major snowstorm here on the 25th. We do see some snowfall and rainfall still for the Northwest by Tuesday as well. Let's take it all the way towards Wednesday, and we do see a low there near Chicago, actually, a very weak one. So we see showers and snow showers to the north here for Wisconsin and Michigan. Let's keep going towards Thursday on the 27th, and this is when things get a lot more interesting. We have a stronger low somewhere near the Adirondack Mountains there of New York. Some snowfall for New Hampshire and Maine, so again, well to the north of most people. We do see a cold front extending down from this low, and this is bringing the chance of thunderstorms throughout this southeast corridor for Thursday evening, so a little bit after this point. They could be flaring up as early as 4 p.m. here, but definitely the evening seems to be when these are really going to be flaring up. Behind this is an area of very cold air, so that cold air is moving in. I look at Thursday as a 60s and 70s day for a lot of the eastern seaboard. So when you get the really cold air moving into that relatively warm and humid air, that definitely leads to quite a bit of instability. So I think Thursday could be a thunderstorm day for the southeast. We also have this kind of glaring warm look out west that's really expansive. I mean, we see this is taking over a lot of the west coast, the Rockies, and the plains here. So that is a pretty expansive warm air mass. As we keep going towards Friday afternoon, this is when we get kind of a clipper chance, 988. That's relatively strong for a clipper system. We do see quite a bit of snowfall, especially on the northern end here, and it is moving down into the upper peninsula of Michigan. We also see for areas of Canada as well there, and then mostly rain showers down here for the upper Midwest underneath that low. As this one keeps going, we'll move this towards Saturday, March 1st. We do see that this looks to bring the chance of some interior and higher elevation snowfall for the northeast, as this low is somewhere near Toronto right here, 994. So it's weakened a little bit, but it's still pretty strong. And yeah, it's moving in with some cold air as well for March 1st on Saturday. Sunday here, we could see some of those snow showers left over for parts of the mid-Atlantic and northeast. This is also an interesting point because on this day, Sunday, March 2nd, we start to get this cold air diving southward along that west coast, and this is enabling more precipitation to reach towards the southwest and also snowfall for parts of the lower Cascades and the Sierra Nevada mountains there. This should start to spread the warm air a little further eastward as it's kind of forced to move out of this western area with that cold air. But for now, I mean, we have this trough here, and we definitely have a big trough in the east with colder air for Sunday, March 2nd. As we move towards Monday, March 3rd, we see that this trough is really expanding for the west. We get a pretty big ridge there to the east for the plains, so we get the warm air really trying to move northward here. We still have some cold air for the northeast and mid-Atlantic as well, but the main trough here is somewhere over the Rockies, bringing a lot of snowfall down there for states like Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana as well. Very, very expansive snow event happening there for early March, perhaps. As we keep going towards that Tuesday on March 4th, this is when things really start to take shape. We get this really intense trough here behind this low. It's a weak low near northeast or northwestern Missouri, better yet. Cold air moving in behind it, really, really common. Cold front developing here underneath. And we definitely have a warm front out here to the east, and that's what's pulling this warm air to the north out ahead of that low. So that's the overall look here for this potential storm around Tuesday, March 4th. And the storms or the models have been pretty consistent with this one, so don't be surprised if this really does come true. Also, a lot of thunderstorm activity underneath. I mean, we get the rising warm air out ahead of it and in it really, and we have the cold dry air moving right into it. So this is a big recipe for a severe weather event for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, especially southern Missouri there. We will be watching for this around that Tuesday, March 4th time frame. Let's keep this going. I'm going to take us towards Wednesday here on March 5th. What we see is a 991 now from Ohio, so it's kind of swung into that Ohio Valley area. We do see some upper Midwest and northern Great Lakes snowfall happening here. And of course, we do see this really long cold front now and this warm front out to the east. So we get the warm air surging up the East Coast. This could be one of the warmer days of 2025 so far for the East Coast. Really looking like 60s and 70s perhaps if we see this type of event take place, which again, the models have been very consistent with. And this is going to lead to a big thunderstorm and severe weather threat for these areas as well. We already see it for Alabama, Georgia, Panhandle of Florida, areas of Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia. As a rule of thumb, we look at where the low is, and south of that line is where the predominant thunderstorm and severe weather threat would be in this type of an event. And especially if not under the low, underneath the warm front is where you'd be looking. So perhaps New York and Pennsylvania, but definitely south of that low is going to be the bigger chance at that if in this type of scenario. But again, this low could end up being here at this point. It could end up being here, and it even could be more progressive. So it could be out to the east of there, or it could be back to the west a little bit. So you can kind of move it around a couple hundred miles, especially when we're looking at 10 days out. And that's kind of the possible locations of this low, which would impact snow, severe weather, pretty much everything to do with the storm would be impacted by any of those movements, whether it's north, south, east, or west. Meanwhile, out in the northwest, we do see another system bringing, again, rainfall in the lower elevation areas and snowfall for the more upper elevation areas. And this is bringing with it some colder air. So we have kind of a trough in the central states, also a bit of cold air moving into the northwest here. And that jet stream is doing a little bit of a ridge in between those areas and then a ridge in the east. So we get two troughs, two ridges here. And let's keep going towards, well, overnight we can see these thunderstorms arrive for the southeast coast all the way up into the mid-Atlantic perhaps. Could be a time frame to watch for sure. As we keep going towards Thursday afternoon, some snow showers follow that cold air and low and start taking place for West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York. Let's keep this going towards Friday, and we're a little bit quieter here unless you look at the northwest, where we do have a major storm system here near Vancouver. Actually, we see snowfall and rainfall for a lot of the west coast happening, and even areas inland because of that. This is Friday the 7th. This is beyond 10 days, so take everything with a grain of salt at this point. We do see some showery activity both in the forms of snowfall and rainfall here in the central states, but nothing too substantial. It is interesting to note that we have a pretty large trough over the east, so colder times as well in here. Saturday the 8th, a lot of the same. The west actually retains most of the activity by this point. We do see some activity in the east, but again, nothing too crazy. And it starts to actually get more impactful. It's kind of a clipper system. We see it move down from Canada into the Midwest. Great Lakes is some lighter snowfall. As it approaches the eastern states, we see Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland get in on a little bit of heavier snowfall from this one, as likely some of the energy is transferring offshore. So it's gaining some intensity here by Sunday the 9th. Even by the afternoon, we get some snowfall there for Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey. But look at the west. I mean, we have a huge area of storminess. All of your mountain ranges seeing heavy snowfall here. Lower elevation areas seeing heavier rainfall. Really impactful. And we get another trough there along the west coast with a ridge over the central states and a little bit of a softer trough over the east there. Even southern New England getting in on some snowfall here with this low right underneath. Sunday afternoon the 9th, but again, take it with a grain of salt. This is going to look a lot different by the time we're getting there, actually. And as we're approaching Monday, what it looks like this model wants to do is this is your jet stream kind of right here. So major trough over the Rockies and the West in general. Lots of snowfall in there as well, as you can see. We get this really major low starting to take place. 987 over either southern Kansas or northern Oklahoma. And this clearly wants to bring with it another warm front, perhaps another cold front type situation. where likely, I mean, this is 8 a.m. Typically, you start to see your thunderstorms flare up closer to the afternoon. So likely in the hours following this is the end of the model run, but hypothetically, we would likely see another round of thunderstorms form underneath that low. A lot more showery activity along the warm front boundary. And we'd probably extend this all the way into the southeast again as this low day after day kind of moves along. So this would be the kind of progression of it. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, for the GFS, again, a little bit more exciting, I would say. And let's just keep going with this. I want to take this towards the eventful stuff. And again, Thursday, we get this cold front setup, another risk of severe weather here. So we saw this on the Euro. We're seeing this on the GFS now. Again, it's very warm up and down the eastern seaboard, but this cold air is smashing in. So it's coming in a hurry. That combo leads to instability. The warmth and humidity is what allows for thunderstorms to really flourish in this pocket. So a lot of instability, a lot of moisture to work with, ends up being some severe weather. Here comes the Clipper system, which brings a little bit more snowfall to the Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast there around the kind of 28th through the 2nd of March timeframe. We get another one moving down for Sunday, March 2nd, with some mixed precipitation for the lower Mid-Atlantic areas like Virginia, the Delmarva, West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, areas like that. Southern Ohio Valley, Southern Mid-Atlantic regions. We see that take place and come to an end. And then we get some more kind of across the nation type storms on this model. We form a pretty strong low here in Oklahoma. We get snowfall to the north of it and also some rain showers. And really, as this low moves up into Indiana, Ohio area, we do start to get a cold front. So this would be a thunderstorm and severe weather threat underneath it for early March. Even into the southeast there, we see it for Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, even upwards of DC, Maryland, eastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, perhaps. Snowfall to the north for the interior of that northeast, as you can see. We get left with some colder air. We get another lower mid-Atlantic storm here for the 9th popping up on this model. But again, take it with a grain of salt. This is 342 hours out. This is going to change quite a bit. And then we get more of an expansive mid-Atlantic and northeast storm where finally eastern PA and areas of New Jersey and New York City start to get some snowfall. But it is pretty short-lived and nothing substantial. And then right by the 11th, it looks like we're going to get another kind of interior northeast snowstorm. So you can kind of imagine on both of these models, this pocket right here gets dodged the most, from basically eastern PA, New Jersey, southern New York, southern New England area. They've been in a snow hole all year, and it looks to continue according to this model. But again, a lot can change. I'm hoping that it does. But that is the theme of these two model runs still, which is just mind-boggling. Total precipitation, really, really high amounts out west. We do get decent amounts for parts of the east, but I'm sure there's some below average in there as well. Here's your anomalies as far as precipitation is concerned. So again, well above average for the northwest into some of the central and northern Rockies there. And then for a lot of the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley, we actually end up with an above average area as well, but well below for some of the deep south up the east coast. Total snowfall on your European model. Obviously, with all this precipitation, we're going to get a whole lot of snowfall out west for the mountains. Your snowfall is just in the obvious areas. We're looking at high elevations. We're looking at interior areas, more north. That is the theme here. I mean, we see the Great Lakes and then the interior Mid-Atlantic and Northeast get some snowfall, especially in those mountain ranges, but really uneventful here on the European model. This is just standard stuff, if not even a little bit below average as far as snowfall is concerned through March 10th. The GFS model, we start to get a little bit more interesting with some of these lower areas, seeing some chances of snowfall again through the Central Plains, Central Midwest, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic. They get a little bit more involved here, so you're definitely cheering for the GFS model if you're looking for snowfall. Your temperature anomalies, let's just work through it. I mean, we're colder right now. We're going to be warming as we reach towards Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we get kind of a warm week there. And then right around Friday the 28th, we finally cool down again. That extends into Saturday, March 1st, March 2nd, March 3rd, March 4th. And then we get a warm up here. Here's the 5th, 6th. And then we cool back down for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th there. And it looks like another warm up is coming in. So it is a very back and forth, warm then cold, then warm then cold. But it's not like single day warm-ups and single day cooldowns. It's more like 3 to 4 days at a time. We're warming up and then cooling down. So it's not as violent as what we've seen before, but it's definitely a back and forth type of thing happening here. Let's see what the GFS has to say. We'll just work our way through this one as well, but cold there for basically today. We warm up for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're finally cooling down. Saturday's a little warmer for the southeast, colder in the north, but we do see that become more expansive for Sunday the 2nd into Monday the 3rd here. Tuesday the 4th we're warmed back up, and also for Wednesday the 5th. A little bit of Thursday the 6th as well, but then we cool back down for Friday, Saturday, Sunday the 7th, 8th, 9th. And then it looks like we're going to warm back up around the 10th, 11th, 12th again, with a cooldown imminently coming in as well. So really back and forth on both of these models overall is the theme as of now. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.